What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the House of Holocrons, episode 67. And in this weekly installment of the podcast, we will be, of course, talking about the two episodes we've gotten from Bad Batch, Identity Crisis and Point of No Return. And what a crazy two episodes they were. For as far as news, again, with like Black Series, we have, was it Monon Imar or the Ithorian, Hammerhead? Getting his Black Series drop now, pre-order available kind of thing. And then we've had a few new announcements. Another Ezra Bridger and Cannon Jars. That's sold out already. So probably have to go through like Entertainment Earth or something to get them because Hasbro Pulse is already sold out.
Yeah, it's weird that it took them that long, but I'm not surprised.
Well, especially after the Ghost Crew and everything came out, I knew these
Yeah,
figures. The people who bought the Ghost Crew were buying They bought these up immediately. I forgot about it, and I didn't get to like 3 o'clock is when I looked to pre-order, and they were already off the site. I was like, dang. Not surprised though, because again, yeah, people wanted to complete the Ghost Crew. Definitely, I got the Hammerhead though. I will be trying to pre-order. I pre-ordered the Hammerhead. That was a fun one to see.
yeah, he's one of the first figures Star Wars ever got.
Mm-hmm.
Just funny is, well, they did a lot of the Cantina Aliens,
Yeah.
and those early two-tone figures.
Yeah, those are some of the like most relic figures. If you find one of those pristine shapes, those things are pretty penny. That would be a great part
Yeah.
for a collection one day.
And back then they didn't have a name, so they called him
Yeah.
Hammerhead, which is yeah. The Thorians used to be one of my as a kid was one of the species I liked. We were playing Star Wars Galaxies. I
Mm-hmm.
think this Thorian.
I love the Ithorians with their like bellowing powers and stuff, but I also know I actually just recently got a few of the figures that were just named after what they were too. I mean, he has a name now, but there's Yak Face, of course. That's
Yeah.
another pretty famous one. Uh, but along
Yeah,
from that, we've gotten a few more like small entertainment. Weekly did an interview with Daphne Keene, had a little bit more information about the Acolyte's character.
I
Uh,
believe Daisy also got a small interview, but she didn't say much for
yeah,
her movie.
which is good
Just
though.
that she didn't know much yet, seems like, and she just said she was hoping for like the return of Finn and some other stuff. Because
Mhm.
this was one of the questions they asked her if Finn would return, and if he did, would he return as a Jedi? And
Yeah.
she said she hopes so, but she doesn't know anything about it.
Hey, that's still great to hear, though. Like, I'm happy, she'll think about it. I'm happy she's mindful to a degree of like what she understands what a good story would be, honestly, and how awesome that would be.
Yeah.
But especially because we didn't really get the rebellion part. I've actually just recently saw some of the art for Finn's rebellion, the concept art that he would. There's supposed to be like this big, huge rebel, like stormtrooper rebellion on Coruscant when Finn and Poe or something got captured. I was like, now that would have been a fun storyline.
Yeah. It would
Yeah.
have. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he
Yeah.
didn't want to return to Star Wars.
Yeah.
I feel like he, I would be, because he really, if you look at the screen time
Mm-hmm.
as the movies progressed, he was in less and less.
Which sucked. I loved Finn. It was and I love his other stuff. Of course, I'm so bad with names that aren't Star Wars, but John Boyega is a great actor, and I loved a lot of his other things, especially his like earlier British stuff. Uh, so on to fun accents, though. I mean, unless there's any other news, I don't really know if there's anything else. We have like some book
Um,
stuff.
I mean, there's been some teasers for some products, but it's mostly been
Mm-hmm.
for coming out for, because we're getting May the 4th soon, so
Yeah,
there's been
true.
some short teasers, but it's been like little like pins and little small stuff.
Yeah, we have
Um,
Temptation of the
n-
Force is the next big High Republic book to drop. The Living Force by John Mickler, who did the KOTOR comics, is coming out, I believe, in like
n-
5 days or
the
something.
reason I didn't share it with you is because some of the merch that it was kind of teased for May the 4th has Ewoks in it. Again, I
Ooh.
feel like that's like a common thing for some reason. I figured we'd get more episode 1 stuff.
Yeah, they're not very good about keeping in that line, though, sadly. I've seen there's like a new set of, what is it, Phantom Menace Pops. One of them's kind of, it's like Darth Maul on a
Yeah,
speeder, Queen
I saw it
Amidala.
announced. Yeah.
But it's like they have a young Obi-Wan, but no Qui-Gon. I was like, what's up with that?
Um, I believe, and we also have that comic coming out
Yes,
still
that is the
that has
first and
some
only comic I have ever decided to tell my comic shop, you get every single cover you can, and
really
I
good.
will take
Yeah,
one.
there's I think one of the best covers. I think is probably the Queen Amidala one.
Yes,
Had a really
that's
good
one of the
cover
ones I
of that
really want
one.
to get my hands on because that'd be one I'd be like, all right, if Natalie Portman, if I ever just stumbled across her because she doesn't really do cons, she'd be like, would you sign this? I have to keep it on me forever just in case, and go to California, which I don't want to do. It's expensive.
I mean, I would take either one,
Yeah.
even if it's her stunt double, or
Oh yeah, Kira Knightley too. That'd be awesome.
yeah,
They could
they
either one of
both
them
are.
sign it. Yeah.
I still think it's funny how they've aged. They still look pretty similar.
Hmm. It was a really awesome aspect of that. I loved that part of the movie. And I was like, that's really cool.
That's
I
one thing I didn't realize as a kid
yeah,
how close similar they looked,
hmm,
and as an adult rewatching it, I was like, yeah, they did a really well job of casting them.
yeah. And yet they're both still phenomenal actresses. And like I've always like, I mean, what Keira Knightley goes on to do Pirates of the Caribbean, so
Yeah,
definitely
but
had their own careers.
she's been a lot more stuff honestly
Hmm.
lately than what's your
Natalie Portman, yeah,
Natalie Portman.
I think she's
She kind
focused on
of
family.
yeah, she kind of stepped out, and any of the stuff she's been doing is more artsy
Yep.
related. Yeah, other than that, it's been mostly Bad Batch.
Yeah. As we get ready to just
We
wait for May the 4th and Acolyte and stuff,
yeah.
so
Yeah, I'm guessing they're just getting prepared to drop everything because we are less than a month away from, well, starting tomorrow will be a month away essentially.
yeah.
No, technically it'll be this Saturday if you're looking at the calendar. It'll be a month away from the Saturday
I'm
for May the 4th.
excited for
When
that.
we should get something dropped.
A nice trailer, maybe an update on out. I would really like for a trailer for Acolyte, an update about Outlaws the game, and then just like some other fun thing. Maybe
I'm also
Skeleton Crew.
interested in seeing because Disney and the store and then also the parks
Mm-hmm.
do a special merch line for a
Mm-hmm.
lot of their stuff. So I'm excited to see what they do this year. In the past, they've done some interesting
Mm-hmm.
things, and yeah, it'll be interesting, especially for those that do plan to go in the parks.
Yeah, that always sounds really fun to be able to experience that. The May the 4th days would got to be super stellar
Yeah,
there.
it's probably really busy as well, especially in
Yeah,
this the Batu.
right.
Oh, they also announced over the week. I don't think I told you about that. Speaking of Batu, the Batu West, which is Disneyland, they are repurposing the liner
Mm.
because they did the cruise liner
Yeah,
thing, the Star Cruiser.
the
Because it
Halcyon.
was really cool. I don't know if you ever watched it. It's actually pretty cool. It's just so
Yeah, yeah,
expensive
it
and
looked amazing. I would have gone. I would have wanted to do it if it wasn't
yeah, it's an
extremely
interactive
expensive.
hotel experience, but you pay a ton because you get to
Yeah.
like go in Batu. It's
Mm.
supposed to be like a cruise line you land and you like get to explore like
Yeah. Yeah,
Batu,
but then at the
and they
same
had
time, I
like
shouldn't have to pay for any food or anything. But it's expensive.
yeah they're planning on repurposing it because it's
Mm.
still there.
Yeah. Why not?
They
They'll
put a
tear
lot
it
of the
down.
products on clearance, which I really wanted the shield that they had. They had the Jedi training shield
Oh,
that lit
really?
up. I thought was really cool. Um, but they because they have so much area they have put up, so they're gonna repurpose it and they might do some of like the Jedi training classes again because they used to do that in Disney before Disney
Hmm.
bought Star Wars. They had that little area for Star Wars already in the park,
Yeah.
and they would do like those the old clips of the little girl kneeling to Darth Vader and
Or Boba Fett dancing.
yeah
The
yeah
Boba Fett
well
dancing was
they had them all dancing.
yeah.
And
So
so,
speaking of
yeah,
dancing,
so
almost
they
dancing into
would
the
get that
grave.
a little expanded. I think they're talking about expanding some of the Batu as well. So,
That's and it'd be easy. There's so many things that you could make and throw around. Like everyone's always thought you could make an entire like Disneyland size theme park. Honestly, though, have like a Tatooinean world, have a Keswick world, have a Dathomir world. All this different
yeah,
stuff.
I wish they didn't do Batu twice. I
Right?
wish they did two different planets.
Yeah, that
I
would have been
see why
nice.
they did it, but it would have been honestly, it's better for like people like it would encourage people to visit both because right
Right.
now they're really similar. Though you get better experience with West only because West has more characters in it for
Hmm.
some reason. Like they have Boba Fett and Mandalorian and Ahsoka and stuff like that. Where the East has only a handful of the characters.
Right.
So honestly, I'm surprised that their third biggest park, which is in well, technically the third one's China, but I'm surprised Tokyo doesn't have their own Batu at this point.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, hopefully it would be very, very advantageous for them to build different planets in different places, because then that would
Yeah.
also encourage people to travel to different parts. Like, imagine if Mustafar was in France. Yeah, yeah, but
Honestly, they should have done something. They should have. I know it's like easily done, but they should have done. California should have been Tatooine.
yeah,
To be honest with you,
yeah, it'd be very
um,
easy.
and because of the desert setting, yeah, they could have easily done more. Like, yeah, they could have made up planets, or they could use old planets like Batu. They did
Hey,
with
Utah could have Crate on the sand flats. Oh no, the salt flats.
do. Well, at that point, you could do like Colorado's is Hoth.
Yeah, see, there
It's
we
like
go.
it only opens during the winter season,
No, it has to be
and there's
like
only
North
like
Dakota.
there's one like store.
Yeah.
Like it's just snow everywhere.
Just do it up in North Dakota, so it's a really honest, good Hoth experience.
Yeah, I was saying Colorado because people would actually show up, but
No, it's for the real ones, man. For the toughs, for the sweaties. You actually have to ride a tauntaun, which is just a horse, but it's a tauntaun, okay?
yeah. For Star Wars news, at least in park wise,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm happy
they
they're raising it though, because that'd be
yeah.
really dumb to tear it down and waste all of that beautiful, like, hard work they put into it. It looks great. You just need it. You just lower the price. That was really all it was. No one
Yeah,
even
it's
cared that it was about Rey and Kylo. Like, honestly, that was never the complaint anyone ever had.
no.
Even the people who hated the sequel were just like, it's still too expensive. That's all anyone
Yeah,
said.
if you compare the prices, it's like it's up there one of the premier
Hmm.
hotel prices, and you look at the resorts like you get bigger resorts in Florida because there's more room and
Right.
it's a bigger park experience. So you look at the comparison of like the Floridian, which is like pristine, like high end, it's extremely expensive. And you look at that, and it's similar prices to that, and you get this grand, huge room and
Yeah.
5-star restaurants. I'm talking about like high end, like big restaurants and
Right.
everything. Like, it's a super expensive experience, what you're paying for, and then you go to Star Wars, you paying for the experience. But if you look at the hotel rooms, they're really small, and you got little like, cramped bunk beds, which is cool. It's
It's Star Warsy,
experience, but
yeah.
it's like it's not like it's like so much the experience can elevate the price at that point,
Right.
especially if you want people to go to it
Yeah.
because you pay more. They're probably paying more to keep that going. So the
Oh yeah.
lights and electronics and then the staff. It's got more staff than most hotels because they have
Hmm.
actors all throughout. Which is it was really
Live
cool. They had
performances, the food, the
yeah
drinks.
they had an alien singer, which
Yeah.
is like this. They had an alien like
Rodian.
yeah Rodian. There's a couple like famous aliens, and then they'd have the characters would
And
run
then there's the
through, and
Twi'lek. Yeah.
they'd have events within just the hotel,
Hmm.
and so you like the lightsaber training and stuff
Yep.
like that. So it's a cool experience and a
Oh
great
yeah.
idea, and I love the idea. But yeah, it was not, especially during that time, people didn't have a lot of money. So
Right. Yeah. Worst time to open too. It was just right after. It was a craziness. But sadly, I wish the topic would get really light and hearted, and we could be like, "Oh wow, Identity Crisis was about a clone rebellion, and they all got out." But damn, Bad Batch was going for the jugular this week.
yeah, it showed part of what we were already thinking. At
Mhm.
least we didn't think that was in the vault, but I'm not surprised that was what was in the vault
Yeah.
because we get to see what was in the vault. We found out that they have an opening because Nalsa's in the prison or the brig
Yeah.
of the base, and so I think Doctor
Car. Is that what it is?
Cart, I think it's Cart, Doctor Cart. She offers to take Nalsa's spot, and he's
Yep.
like, "Well, if you're gonna take her spot, then I got to show you the vault."
Yeah.
And he takes her in the vault, and I mean, As somebody that really wants to help, I get it, but man, is she not subtle about wanting to help the
Oh,
children?
do not at first know which. Yeah, he immediately sets off on. He's like, "Hey, they're specimens. Don't do it." Yeah, Emery Carr. Uh,
He's like,
sh-
I understand that they're kids at the first
yeah,
point, but you get close and starts this down this. You got to look at them as
yep,
specimens.
yeah. A lot of people were expecting Identity Crisis to be about something different, but so this entire
Yeah.
episode is about Emery and her journey through this taking over of Nala's position. We also see a very force sensitive child in the very opening, which of course ominous.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This scummy Aqualish guy decides to rat him out, and I immediately was like, "This is how we get Cad Bane."
Yeah, it was pretty obvious because that's what he's done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Even like I said, even but he did this before the Empire was a thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, he
Rounding
did
up
it.
the children, and well, even rounding up children,
Mm-hmm.
because Sidious was already wanting to do that before um, before the end of the war.
Yeah,
And so that was like the whole plot point of that. But yeah, when I heard his, because he's the only one that sounds like he's wearing spurs in Star Wars, and
yep,
he's always you hear him walking with the spur noise, and he did, yeah, you get him, and he's done. He's the only one that would do that job anyways, because he doesn't care.
dude. I gotta say though, as a recent father, um, I immediately was so. I hope he died to Boba Fett and he never comes around again. I hope he's dead. I hate him. He's such
I'm
a
pretty
great
sure.
person. I love him to death. I love Cad Bane. But if I saw him, I would punch his. I would make him swallow his teeth because he's evil and I hate him. And he took a baby, and
I
as
don't
a
see
father
how
though,
he
it hurt so
could
much to
come
watch.
back.
I was like, no.
I don't see them bringing him back.
Yeah, but that was an
I
amazing
will
scene. It
say
was so powerful when he took that kid. It was like
that
it was
some
heart wrenching.
characters that could survive a shot, I feel
Yeah,
like he could because he survived a lot already.
yeah,
But I think he's better off being put to rest. We get him that one time to see him live action, and then he's retired
yeah.
for good.
Yeah, that scene was super tense. So we definitely know that they're taking kids, multiple,
Yeah.
for this testing facility to constantly test their M count, which I don't get why they're keeping them honestly, unless he's really trying to like fuck around with other stuff and make other kind of force sensitive clones.
Well,
Because he shouldn't
yeah.
need. If he needs Omega, then he doesn't need them.
Yeah, well, I think the original well, he didn't have Omega at the time. He didn't know
Yeah.
Omega was a thing. So I think the whole purpose was they were basically guinea pigs for replicating M count
Mm-hmm.
to see if he could do it, and they're basically the only source. Like he even says, she says, "Why children?" He says, "Well, if there's no adult with M count. They're like super hard to find
Because they're all
they kill them."
dead.
So he says they're the only ones they could find, and plus they're easily to manipulate.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about them as trying to escape as adults would as much. And yeah, it's. I'm not saying it's good or anything, but
Mhm.
his reasoning makes sense why they have them
Yeah.
because they're M count experiment because they don't have anything to work with because they can't just do all their experiments on Palpatine. That would kind of defeat the purpose.
Right, and not to mention they
So,
needed someone with a high M count to help transfer and stuff. But they were just so we have a Pantoran female. It looks like an Iktachi female. We're gonna find out is Eva, I believe that's name Eva, and then we
Yeah.
have a Mirialan boy named Jax.
Yes, Jax. I don't think we get the other girl's name.
Yeah, we don't know the Pantoran girl's name.
She doesn't say anything the whole
I
time.
imagine Pantoran too. I'm assuming just because of the gold tattoos on the blue skin, but
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, we find out a little bit about them, and then the biggest drop is why they're there because she asks, and actually the bigger drop is the whole reasoning for which we knew the reasoning, but the whole reason they want Omega, and he says like that's why we need Omega,
yeah,
because she's essentially the catalyst for everything.
yep,
And like I said, they were doing this before they know because they just found out Omega actually had an M count before, and she's
Yeah.
the first clone. So yeah, I know she said she's a clone like her, but I'm starting to think I don't think she's a clone from Jango Fett's DNA.
Oh, okay, that would make sense.
I think she's just a clone of somebody else. I don't think she's Jango Fett's clone.
Mhm.
I think Omega is, but I don't think the Doctor is.
I like that. That's interesting. Okay.
Because she said we're like sisters, but the more I see of her,
Hmm.
I don't think she's a quote unquote 99. I think she's just a different clone of somebody
Yeah.
else. She's just too different. Even the clone 99 clones kind of like a kind of seem, I don't know, it's maybe not.
It's kind of
They're pretty
tropey,
different.
but
I just like from this episode I feel like
mm,
she is not from Jango Fett's clone, which is
that'd be
possible. They did
fun. I
other
like that.
cloning.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's how they got to the. They cloned themselves to oblivion, a sterile oblivion, pretty much. That's what happened with
Yeah.
the Kaminoans. But and we also get something I kind of thought was cool. I don't know if this is the very first time. I think it is though. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, Hemlock literally says Commander Scorch. So he is now
Yeah.
finally he finally named, like, we knew it was him from the paint job, but at the same time, he never said anything. But this is the 100% that is Scorch from Republic Commandos.
We also see that
And he
he
used his
has
name.
a commander rank as well,
Yeah.
which is surprising. Which they have shown a lot of the commandos that are still around are in the leadership roles,
Yeah.
which we don't really see too much in the clone department anymore. Even when Cody was around, which when we saw him around, it really looked like they were just kind of sticking him in the background. Like
Hmm.
he wasn't in a forward role. With these commandos, are all in forward roles.
Yeah.
So even when, as long as it looks like we only see them attached to these experiments. So
Hmm.
if it's outside of these experiments, they don't really get involved with, which I guess makes sense
Yeah.
because they're probably. They said there are a finite amount of them, so they probably want where they matter.
I
And
know.
as we could see with Tarkin, that this experiment,
I love that
which
so much. He wanted so badly to just get some information. He was
yeah,
like, "I am more important than you, Hemlock. Don't you think you're?" It was literally just a show off. He was like, "Watch yourself, or I will
oh,
take your," just like I took the Death Star from Krennic. He doesn't like being out
yeah,
of the loop, and Hemlock knows he's protected right now because what he's doing is more like the Emperor right now would kill Tarkin to save Hemlock, which is big because
well,
Tarkin's is like number
yeah.
one dude.
Well, it's weird because well, it's because it's what he represents.
Yep,
I think
exactly.
Hemlock's a hard person to replace. But yeah, that conversation reminded me a lot of the Grand Admiral Thrawn novels.
Hmm.
Just with not only Tarkin, but the whole like hiding stuff from each other. Because
Yeah.
we also kind of see that in some other stuff lately. How they're like there's a lot going on. They don't share everything with the whole leadership department.
Right.
So like Tarkin's pretty much one of the highest ranking Imperials.
Yep.
I don't know if he's at this moment. I think he is. I think he's Grand Admiral at this, not Grand Moff.
Yeah, I think he is.
Um, but it is a point when he gets to this point though. He technically ranks above Darth Vader, which a lot of people don't realize.
Right.
Um, he's literally the highest ranking in the military. The only person that can outcommand him at that point is Palpatine, the Emperor himself. I think he is at this moment. It's still early Empire, but I'm
Right.
pretty sure he's Grand Moff at this point. I know he gets Moff pretty early
Mm.
at the beginning of the Empire. Yeah, I think he's Grand Moff at this point, which is which were official rank. Not saying that Moff was a rank, but they did make up the rank for Tarkin, which is
Right.
funny. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, I'm
He
not
bas-
surprised.
yeah, he basically invented Grand Moff just to give Tarkin that extra authority. But yeah,
uh,
yeah,
Emery
most
though
of the
is
episode,
doing. Yeah, this episode
yeah,
was really small and confined. And I didn't expect it to be only about Emery. I thought we'd get a little bit of something else in there. It wasn't bad, but it was very much setting up a lot of stuff. And I feel like Emery's going to be our, like, Omega's going to show up, and Emery's going to be the one that gets the batch there somehow, and all the other clones, and it's going to start some huge fight. Because this is like what we have 4 episodes left.
yeah. Megas seemed like she still had something up her sleeve. I mean, they did find a tracker, but they didn't search her after they found the tracker because
Yeah.
she gave away a tracker. She's like, "Here's my tracker." They should have searched her again, but they didn't.
And yeah.
It was kind of a dumb part of that's going to the second episode, but
Yeah.
yeah, I said the one thing I liked about this episode is we had Mount Tantus again,
Yeah.
but it was a new part of it. It
Mm-hmm.
was all new. The only thing we got to see that was the same was the entrance into the vault.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was all new content. Um, Seeing Cad Bane again was pretty interesting, even though it was horrible.
Yeah.
Um,
Of course, we have the Jax trying to escape. The Mirror Island boy tries to find. He kind
yeah,
of like realizes what's going on, tries to escape. It doesn't work, of course. He's not fast enough. They shut the building down, and then put him in like a 2-day isolation and stuff. And yeah, Emery's
it
not doing
was
okay with
yeah.
this. I really do feel like Emery's gonna be the new like secret weapon for Omega that she didn't know she had. It's gonna definitely help a lot.
A stun blast on a child can't be very safe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if she had a problem with it, as in ethical reasons, I wonder if there's some. There's got to be some like possibly because stun blasters could take out
Mm-hmm.
a large human male, and we learned some aliens need more shots than others. But still, a small child that's gotta do some damage internally or something.
Yeah, and they just don't care.
No,
Scorch
well,
is
that's yeah.
That's what Scorch is like. He's just like it's a specimen try to escape. All
It's
right, buddy.
it's it's something that was necessary to see with the Empire
Mm-hmm.
because we got to remember they're not the
Yeah,
good
yeah,
guys.
exactly. That's what that kind of stuff reminds you of. Is these are not good people anymore. This is ran by the evil Sith Lord.
The funny thing that surprises me is I didn't expect to see some of this in the Bad Batch.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of crossing over like not as family friendly anymore.
Yeah,
This is going into like which you'd see more in like Andor or something else like that that's more directed towards adult theming. So yeah, it was a tough pill to swallow.
yeah.
Um, but then which we got the 2 episode premiere this time. So we had a second episode which focused more on the Bad Batch themselves this
Whew.
time.
The Bad Batch and
And
Pabu. Hey.
and Clone X, which they're showing
Yep.
him getting tracked.
We
We
pretty much start with Fee and her robot friend. He gets onto Fee's ship and finds out how many times she's frequented Pabu. We
well,
see she has a cool vibro cutlass, and I want one of
well,
those.
we've seen that before actually. She's we've seen the Cutlass before.
I didn't remember it, but you're
Yeah.
right. Now I do,
I
and I really still
I
want one.
remember it.
I
Um,
want one.
but before that, we actually get some talks with. He gives instructions to
Mhm.
him, and he's like, "What do we got on the?" And he talks about how he gives up. He's like the Trandoshan, which we know the Trandoshan is,
Yeah,
which is
pretty much Sid.
Sidron. Um, which he's like, I got the information out of the Trandoshan. There's a pirate they have contact with, which that she probably just demanded some money, and she probably gave the information really quickly at this
Man,
point.
they got a 99 that lady.
Yeah, and of course we knew the pirate was because then we get to see her quickly after, which he almost gets caught, but he doesn't. And he goes and to the planet, which he
Yeah.
finds like right away.
I love
I
that
will
ship
say,
so much though. That
yeah,
his interceptor ship is so goddamn gorgeous.
I need to go back over, but this one's voice because the other one that we had that had the helmet off sounded different. The one that kind of escaped.
Yeah.
Before, and this one didn't know where they were. Like, I don't know. I think this is a different one because the voices sound different. But this one stuck out to me the most because this one literally sounds like Crosshair with a voice filter.
This one did have a little bit more crosshair in him. He
Like
had a little more snaky.
if you like re-listen to him, it literally
Yeah.
sounds like Crosshair with like a little voice alteration at the end of it.
Right.
I don't know if that was intentional. Who knows? Maybe they cloned Crosshair, but
They got a successful crosshair clone.
I don't know. That would be kind of silly, but
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen weirder with. I mean, they're cloning Palpatine, so
Right.
there's weird already.
If they can bring back Crosshair, if they can bring back a Clone 99 easily, then that's at least getting him closer to midichlorians, right? Maybe that guy has a little bit of force powers in him.
Yeah, and then so yeah, he finds him. He almost gives himself away again. So I do feel like this one is a different one. He's very close to giving himself away. Well, he does kind of give himself away because Hunter sees like the birds right away. He's like, this doesn't feel right. He also parks
Doesn't
in
act
the
on it.
cave.
Yeah, the same cave
They
that
really
Sasha
need
was
to
in.
put like
That's what
some
I said.
sensor in there. Like the cave, it's like
Bro, there's a
Does
super
nobody
secret
pay
cave that fits
attention?
a whole ship in it. You should probably like, yeah, you should probably put a tracker down there or something.
It's yeah. So we get that, um, and then and yeah, he calls in the Empire, which is it's so just like subtly like I think there's somebody here. All of a sudden, there's like a small like the Venator,
Hmm.
like it's not a full Star Destroyer yet, and it's like boom, it's right there, and then my wife's like, why are they sending so many to the ground just for a logo? I was like, well, I mean, how many times they've escaped? It's like
Right.
they're actually doing it right this time.
Yeah.
They're
They're just gonna
just suddenly dropping tons of stormtroopers everywhere, flying
blow up the
instantly blowing up.
Marauder, get rid
It
of
blew up
all
the
the
Marauder.
skiffs. Yeah, they got rid.
Well,
They did it
getting rid of
right.
all the transports and the ports, not just
Yep.
the boats, but the ports,
The
ports for the
dock.
boats. And then yeah, then well, the X killed the Marauder.
Oh yeah,
Um, nearly,
that's almost got Wrecker. But
yeah,
he
nearly
saved
killing
Gonki
Rector in the
too.
process.
He saved Gonki.
Yeah, this is like the first time we've seen like with the newer Empire that really do something like full on smart. I think they
Yeah.
just learned their lesson.
We see one of the clone commandos immediately gives way to X2, so this X clone
Yeah,
definitely has a higher rank than the others as a super
yeah,
special operative. And yeah, he just
yeah,
tells
because
them
we've
burn
seen
it
that
all
before.
down, kill like do whatever you can until you find them or they come out.
Yeah, what we've seen in the past was I think we had them like kind of not.
Hmm.
Well, it was Wolf. Wolf didn't like really listen to
Yeah,
that one, and these guys just he literally kind of ran the show. Which he, besides him giving himself away a couple times,
hmm,
he knew what he was doing.
yeah. And yeah, they
They
go
were
through, they start harassing the entire town, ripping everyone out of their house, setting fire to some and stuff. Like it was really gnarly. Almost like an Inquisitor going after a Jedi. They started to like play on Omega's heart, where it was like, all right, if you don't show
yeah.
up, everybody gets hurt.
It was the classic TV trope or
Hmm.
movie trope where they're like, you know, they're the bad people are here. They're trying to find me and they're like hurting the town.
Yeah.
And I liked Hunter's line in that because you don't typically hear this. She's like, I feel guilty. That's the whole guilty trope.
Yeah.
And Hunter's like, it's not you that's causing this. It's literally Empire causing it. You can't blame yourself for what they're doing. And it's like stuff that I'm glad he says that because you
Hmm.
see, I've seen this on so many movies and stuff where they do this similar situation. And every time it's like I got to get myself up. It's like you don't need to
Right.
blame yourself for it. It's not you that's doing this.
Yeah, you're not the one. You literally were just here. Now, I do agree that she kind of says earlier in the episode, oh, Hunter says we've been here for too long. Yeah, you were there apparently one day too long. Like, even Hunter says it. They shouldn't stay on one place for a really long time, but
Yeah.
it felt like home. But man, I wish they had listened to their gut because, yeah, staying in one place, and this is what happened.
And the naivety of Omega when she doesn't realize that just because she gives herself up doesn't mean they're going to stop.
Yeah.
And the fact that she goes with the clone, which to me is a dumb thing to do because
Hmm.
that one ship can be tracked. They should have put it on a shuttle and then moved
Yeah,
her
that's a good
differently.
point. Yeah, that's actually a really good point.
That,
Could have shot it at one of
that
the
was
clone
dumb,
shuttles.
but the fact that she left on the Clone X ship to me tells me that the Empire is gonna stay
Yeah.
because they don't need to follow him back. They're gonna stay and probably find the rest of the Bad Batch, which is probably going to be the next episode of seeing how they're going to leave.
Oh yeah, the next one is called what was it, Juggernaut? Let me see.
Yeah, I'd have to.
Yep, Juggernaut. So that could be Wrecker goes nuts. I've seen a lot of artists talking about it, but there's definitely going to be a moment because if she gives herself up, the big plan was for the Crosshair to shoot a tracker onto his ship, and he doesn't do it because he's too busy fighting off troopers. They're trying to kill him. It was a hell of a tense scene, and the
Yeah.
second that thing missed and went in the water, I was like, all of this for nothing. But thankfully, Emery is, a good person, maybe now.
Yeah, we see her conflicted with herself, which is, I believe, is what the identity crisis refers to.
Right.
So we get references to that. And then yeah, and it kind of cuts off, so we don't necessarily because like I said, she hands him her tracker,
Yeah.
so she could still have a tracker on
That's
her.
yes, exactly. That is the big thing I thought too. Is like, okay, she handed him one, but he didn't search anything. And
Yeah,
then like, she takes her hat off and starts to meditate. Maybe she's gonna try and reach out to Asajj. That'd be cool. But however this
yeah.
happens, it's gonna be a really
If
good time.
Asajj helps out, she'd have to stop the ship on the
Mm,
way because once it's there, Asajj, I don't think she can really do much in Tantus.
yeah.
It's difficult. She need a team. Yeah,
Man, if
she
it was
really
her and
just needs.
Quinlan Voss, they do pretty okay.
Yeah, well, it's Tantus is rough. I'm sure the Inquisitors are probably not too far away, too. So if they needed to show up, I don't
Yeah.
know.
That would
We'll
be
see.
crazy if we saw an Inquisitor in Bad Batch.
We've saw a Jedi now, so
Right.
outside of like episode one, because we saw Jedi's, I think at the beginning of like episode one,
Hmm.
when they did the Order 66 thing, and then other than that, we haven't really see. Well, I guess Grungy,
Yeah, Gungi's the next Jedi. That'd be the last
yeah,
actual, and then yeah, Jedi we've seen is Gungi. Yeah, and he's the one who taught Omega how to meditate. Maybe she'll reach out to Gungi. Who knows what'll happen? But yeah, no Force user can go to Tantus without making a team. Oh man,
yeah,
what if
they
that? There we go. We have Rex, Hunter, Wrecker, Crosshair. Like the whole Bad Batch team, and then Gungi, Asajj, and Quinlan show up, and they
yeah,
can't.
I could see. That'd be cool if they try to appeal to her to help.
Yeah,
Um, and she normally would say no, I think, even
right.
though she does have kind of attachment to her. I think Quinlan would probably, if he's there, would be the one to convince her, like, hey, we should actually do
Yeah, we,
something.
we we should go do something about this. These poor people need us.
I think we're probably gonna see more of Cad Bane. I think there's gonna probably be a run in. That
Oh yeah.
might be how they track down where Mount Tantus is. They might try to follow Cad Bane to another meetup of a child or something.
Hmm. Yeah,
That
that's
would
not a
be
bad
a
idea.
well, it'd be a good run in because we have Asajj finding
Yeah.
kids as well, and then it'd be like a whole meetup, and she's like,
Hmm.
hey, I might be knowing where they're taking the kids. I can help you find her or something.
Yeah. Maybe Finnick too, because she likes Omega a lot. I mean, it's gonna
Well,
be
yeah,
like
it's
an
that they know
Avengers
each
moment.
other.
They're all just gonna show
Yeah.
up. Avengers Infinity War style. Everyone's gonna show up and just help save Omega. Clone Rebellion. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. And then they all die.
Yeah, I hope we do get a grand moment, of some kind.
Yeah.
One thing we didn't say in this episode, you got to see Tex Goggles again.
Oh, that was a
Um,
sad one. That was fun though.
when they were planning on leaving the planet.
Yep. Right before that, give it to the treasure. She was also leaving behind her little doll.
Yeah, we saw the straw version that the
Ooh, yeah, that was a
doctor
nice
gave
one.
to the little kid.
One of the
So
last
yeah, she
moments,
still
Emery gave her the other Lulu doll.
yeah, I think she feels guilty about what she did to Omega.
Well, she feels really
Um,
bad about Evo because Emery. I remember that last scene where she was like, "You lied. You said he would get in trouble." But you know,
yeah, problem is, I mean, you can still help the children. I feel like she's gonna get caught really
dude,
quickly.
that's a bad one because the kid's just sitting in plain sight from up there playing with it. I'm like, "Ooh, they're gonna see her with that and be like, how did you get that?"
Well, also they have the scientists walking around up top
Right.
too, like it's and he's caught her, or the Scorch has caught her,
Mm-hmm.
like being involved. Yeah, and like she's asking too many
Oh,
questions,
that
and
was one of the coldest lines in all of Star Wars when she asks Cad Bane, like, what was it? What'd you do to the mother, or does something like that? I
oh yeah,
can't.
no, he said, "Where'd you get her from?" or
Yeah, where
something
did
like
you
that.
get this from? And he's like, asking question like that reveals more than you know. And she's like, oh my, oh, damn. That was a cold line. That was a cold bounty hunter line. Oof. I love Cad Bane, but I hate him so much. This is a,
Honestly, I feel like we got the more G-rated version of how he would have normally abduct the kids. I feel like it'd be
mm,
a lot more violent sometimes.
yeah. The Empire's not trying to leave any, trace though. They don't want the
Yeah,
rebellion to gain steam too fast.
well, Cad Bane don't care.
No, Cad Bane doesn't care. No, not at all. But that was, Seth Green's little robot character I love a lot. That was always, it's always fun to see him trying to make a baby calm down.
Yeah.
But Identity Crisis sets up for a lot, I think, and that's why it was kind of very necessary. A slow and just like, what is this? Because I was just like, what the hell's going on? We're like in the last two-parter, and one of them's entirely about Emery. I wasn't upset. I was just like, this just feels weird for like this big two-parter. But then it's like, oh, this is all like a nice exposition for episode 12 to finale, and
Well,
then
it did jump a lot of lore.
yeah,
But yeah, this definitely sets up because that was one thing I wanted for the story to
mm.
develop to have her rescued early, but also I feel like this sets up her getting recaptured is kind of annoying,
But
but
it
it
is
does
literally a
set up a
point
good
of no
finale.
return, like that's what it says. That's what it's titled, the point of no return, because now they have to. There's no going around
Yeah,
now. They have to go get her, and they have to assault Tantus.
like well, now that Crosshair's been bonding with her so strongly
Yeah.
lately, which was a very smart idea that they
Mm-hmm.
did. Now he has a very strong reason to be involved with what's going on.
Right.
Um, so yeah, him and Hunter for sure, like daddy duo.
Right. Oh, and when Wrecker wakes up, he's not going to be happy at all that this happened. He's going to be mad about the Marauder. He's going to be mad about Omega. He's going to be
Yeah,
mad about all of it. And I know Crosshair is probably extremely pissed. He can't. I
well,
bet
that's what I'm
he's
saying. Yeah,
extremely upset that he missed the
well,
shot. And
Wrecker's like to me, Wrecker's more of like the big brother role,
yeah,
whereas Crosshair lately has been kind of this second father figure since
yeah,
Tech's been gone. Um, and he's more of like this close uncle, if anything. But they've been bonding very close,
yeah.
and the fact that he let her go against his better judgment of like giving himself up. It's like we can just use me as bait. It's okay. I need to, and he was completely against it. And he's like, "Fine,
Yeah. I mean,
fine, we'll
for the
do it
right
your
reason,
way."
though. It sucks because, yeah, Hunter was trying to
Yeah,
take a ship and he'd almost gotten the thing, but then X2 pulls out a crack shot and just shoots the pilot in it
yeah.
wrecks. He swims back, and by the time he finally gets back, everything's gone to hell.
So yeah, that's I mean, it was a very ruthless episode.
Very.
Um, I will say that it is refreshing to
Hmm.
see on animation and stuff that the Empire actually winning. It's I don't for an antagonist.
Right. Right.
I
I get
I
you.
get tired
It's
of
like
seeing the
Empire Strikes
whole
Back.
the whole slapstick stormtrooper comedy routine.
Hmm.
I it doesn't make sense when we see on like premiere stuff with like the bad guys doing dumb crap when they've clearly taken over the galaxy.
Right.
They take over planets, so they're not incompetent.
Yeah, they
So
were
it
just
is
marching through the streets, shoving people around, doing their thing, doing what Empire do real good.
so yeah. It's necessary to see the bad guy win.
Hmm.
Whether we're not supposed to enjoy it.
Right.
So
And it just
yeah,
builds us up this nice, again, it's all this momentum. It is this motive to carry us into this finale through episodes 12 on.
it's fantastic storytelling for sure.
Yeah.
It's something that we don't really get to see too much in the movies because you only get so much movie
Yeah, you
time.
get what, like, well, hell, nowadays, a modern movie's like, what, 3 fucking hours? It's crazy how long new movies are these days. But I don't
So now,
mind.
if you just do this season, or if you do all three seasons and airtime, it usually eclipses the three movies
Hmm.
in time. So we have more time to develop a story,
Yeah.
and I like seeing because we kind of see that as the Empire kind of winning, but it's more in between the movies or in the background,
Hmm.
and it's cool to see it because it does have that story flow that we need to see. Um, the good guys can't always win. If it
Right.
do, it's boring and it gives less credit for the end game.
Oh, yeah. It can kill a lot of stuff when either way, you can't have the enemy be indefeatable, and you cannot
Yeah,
have the protagonist be unbeatable. But it helps because we've already we already know that Luke and the rebellion
Yeah.
win. The Empire will fall, it will all go away. So in this moment, they can be as ruthless as they possibly want. Again, don't forget that none of the Bad Batch exist in other media. So
Yeah.
a lot of they got to get kind of they're either getting taken down or they're leaving and never looking back. And I highly doubt the latter, sadly, because that's not who they are. If they had heard about a galactic rebellion, you really don't think Hunter
Yeah.
and a they would have been there.
Well, and I think that the best part, people talk about how this is kind of feeding into the sequel movies,
Mm-hmm.
but people don't to put in perspective that this is feeding into the original trilogy.
Yeah.
It's giving more credit to the good guys. It's showing how big of the stakes are, more than just a planet killer. What about the planets that are surviving, that have to deal with the Empire?
Yeah.
What are they going through? And so we get to see multiple aspects with this, with Andor, with Rebels. As we're tired of seeing this type of media because we've seen a lot of it, it is refreshing to see good storytelling with it. So,
and the troopers are growing on me. I don't mind these TK1 phase, like super early troopers helmet. That more Ralph McQuarrie inspired looking one. It's really grown on me a lot. I like it.
I like to see a physical version that looks decent.
That would be. I'm surprised there's no Black Series figure of that yet.
I'm surprised there could be. They're usually pretty late sometimes.
Right?
It's like it's either they're like early to promote.
Yes.
We haven't really gotten that with the Acolyte, that we like push it out early.
That was awesome. That was amazing with the Acolyte. Yeah, they just dropped like
we didn't,
5 Acolyte
We didn't get that with Ahsoka. We didn't get that with Ahsoka
Right.
till it was almost over.
Yeah, no, the Acolyte series drops were dope. I would love if we got a phase 1.
Is that the first time we've had it this early before the contents come out? Even with the movies, I don't think we've gotten them that early.
You might be right. Besides, like, of course, the early 2000s and stuff.
Well, I'm talking about with Black Series and with our
with our Black Series and the vintage collections and stuff like that. No, I really don't think we get that much stuff before the media ever actually releases, especially this much before. Like it's
even though pretty early if you think about when those figures were.
Even though we're not getting the figures until around the time the show will be airing. The announcement, the showing them off, that's still, and then being the first High Republic figures, they're not, Jedis are easy, whatever, but that's really not true. They're all new sculpted robes, they're all new colored, like, it's very different, actually, and that's...
You can't just repaint the faces. They're different sculpts every time. You can repurpose some of the robes, but it's different from repurposing Stormtrooper armor.
Right. So yeah, with the future, May 4th is going to be awesome. We're going to get so many freaking releases. But with the Bad Batch 2, the weird part, I think, with this is that it will actually be coming to an end. That's kind of hard to think about sometimes, I think, is that this is going to end. It's going to be over after a few more, 4 more weeks or so? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy how much of a mature drama this has turned into.
Yeah.
You would think when it started out,
like the Wars almost.
It was a lot of like almost like cartoonish, like comic bookish part where there's like record lifting, massive weighted things. It's like, okay, that's a little stretch, or like hobbling around with like shot in the leg multiple times, moving that quickly. It's like superhuman, like you would only see in comics or on cartoons, but yet there's this subtlety, there's this drama, there's this grit, and at this point I don't know if it's really more for kids anymore. I mean, it already kind of was like for everyone, but now I start to say it's more geared towards adults at this point,
and I'm happy again, like you said, that they're doing this more adult stuff, because it gives me a lot more hope for the future Thrawn and Ahsoka, in the future of the Mandalorian verse. Things I think are getting a little bit darker, not in a bad way, because really, if nothing else, maybe the High Republic is showing them, like, we'll take some pretty dark stories. It's fine. Because High Republic is not friendly.
Well, I mean, that's good for things like the Acolyte and the High Republic. We are going to see more of it, that we are being introduced more and more of this mature content of the in-depth storytelling that It is good versus evil, but it doesn't necessarily have to be super straightforward anymore. It doesn't
Right.
have to be the Superman experience with
Yeah.
it. More of a what you would expect with something like later Batman, or like what you'd get with some of the later Marvel stuff. Where it's
Mm.
not as like, not like early Batman, where it's like pow and
Yeah. And as much as I love it, Tim Burton's Batman, it's still silly and wacky, but Star Wars has definitely taken some more leaps to be just a little bit more aggressive in its storytelling, and it's not a bad thing. That gives me again with
yeah,
Rey's future, that's going to be amazing. The Acolyte is going to show us how they're going to handle the dark side, like in new Disney, pretty
yeah.
much with Filoni and all that. And I think this is going to be what really shows us what the enemy and what the bad guys are going to feel like for Rey's trilogy and stuff moving forward into the future of Star Wars is this villain. And I mean, we're getting people like Hemlock, we're getting
Yeah.
people like, like it's just all these awesome, terrible
Even
characters that we love, but they're
it's
not holding punches anymore.
well, it's crazy. Even Hemlock, he's supposed to be kind of, you think of pure evil, but
Mm,
even like when we start seeing him more and more talking, they're almost humanizing him some, and which is a good thing. It's
yeah,
like,
I like
it's
that.
not like, well, not like I'm saying to root for him, but
Oh
also
yeah,
like he feels more real. He feels like a real person, which it should be.
yeah, real
Um,
slimo.
we should hate him. We should like we it's great development. I like
Yes.
it. That's what I want to see out of a bad guy when we get
Hmm.
these Sith. I
Yeah.
don't want to see and that's one of the problems is with the Old Republic Sith. They were great, but some of the Old Republic Sith were just like a cartoonish evil where they're
Yeah. Pure,
like the epitome
unadulterated.
of like, which is cool to have that one to be multiple. It's like
Hmm.
there's got to be like there's because world isn't black and white. There's
Right.
all this mix in the middle, and it's not a compelling character to have that constantly. So to have a character with personality,
Yep.
with more than I'm just evil because I'm evil type thing.
Yeah.
So we're getting more of that. We're starting to see that with Hemlock. We're starting to see that with
I mean,
well,
Thrawn.
no, yeah, well, yeah, Thrawn with not really with Cad Bane.
I
Which
mean,
is
he's just out for himself forever and always.
So yeah, it's refreshing, especially going into the acolyte. I hope
Hmm.
we get with that. I hope the quote unquote acolyte that we're getting is. I hope it's more of that. I hope it's like. I hope we get a Jedi that's going
Yes, that'd be awesome.
fighting the dark side. I hope we do get a cool Sith character.
Right.
Um, like what we get with
I've
Ahsoka
actually
with
been rereading or re-listening to the Plagueis novel, and oh, dude, you want to talk about a really well-thinking, brutal Sith. Plagueis, if they make any of that canon, that would be gnarly. But I'm also happy if they don't touch it whatsoever. But
I would
it's
like
so good.
I would be happy with a reference to it,
Yeah.
of some kind, like a subtle reference. But I want something new.
Hmm.
I really, as a lot of people that are old fans really want to see Plagueis. I'm kind of tired of seeing the same old stuff we've heard already.
I mean, but at the same time, we haven't ever seen Plagueis. And if it's so early on, like if it's early on in his Tenebrae years or like something like that,
Yeah,
it is a very different vibe then. But
I can't see the bad guy being Plagueis though. How it
yeah,
seems like the story's going to go along. I don't feel like it's going to be. I feel like most the acolyte's probably going to be an ex Jedi.
yeah, and I can see that. And of course, a lot of people think it's going to be May, who herself was probably the Padawan in one of the trailers and stuff. I could see it being all kinds of different people. It could be multiple. I have a theory. What if it's Vernestra Rowe? Ba, ba, ba. She looks pretty stern. Pretty. She's had a lot of. Now that I've finished Defy the Storm, she's got a few issues and things and stuff. So
She already had issues.
and she already had issues, but also Defy the Storm review out now on YouTube. Go check it out if you
Yeah, I
don't
need
want to
to.
read the book, or spoiler free for the first like few minutes, and then it gets heavily spoiler.
I'm people are gonna hate this. I have a hot take that I hate hardback. I love paperback, and I was waiting for the
Mm.
paperback, but they don't come out till post May. I'm very irritated about the hardbacks out, but
Yeah, I like hardback. I like a big old
I,
thick book.
I'm weird. I like to bend the pages back. I like to. I
I
don't
get
like
it.
the. I don't like the big gaps between words, which
Hmm.
people like. I like the words actually close together. It's easier for me to read, but
Yeah. Yeah, I think actually it was just Rise of the Red Blade actually just recently came out on paperback.
yeah, I've been waiting on the.
Which again, if you like
Well,
Inquisitors, that is a book to read. It is still one of my all-time
I
favorite books,
believe
especially
the
for dark side stuff. If
Phase Three
Dahlia's
book still may,
yeah,
sadly.
if Rise of the Red Blade is any indication of how they're going to handle the Acolyte's dark side, bro, sign me up. It's so mentally crazy and so much self-doubt, and it shows like the driving force behind the dark side, which is always usually self-hate and ego and fear.
I I wouldn't mind. I honestly, if they did a Obi-Wan season two, be mostly focused on Inquisitors.
Yeah.
But I would like a more serious Inquisitor. I
Hmm.
feel like, and the problem is a lot of people wouldn't. I feel like the Inquisitor
I
part of
would okay.
Obi-Wan kind of ruined it for some people.
I
I
loved
feel
it,
like
but
it's
how do
kind of.
you feel about Obi-Wan literally helping to retrain Reva for a little bit and fighting off some Inquisitors?
I honestly think Reva should stay a Sith. I think Reva should go from being an Inquisitor to a fallen Sith. I think she
Damn.
is better at the dark side. I don't. I think. Yeah, I think she'd be cool as
Hmm.
a villain, like a full on, like a real
I mean,
good
but she was
villain.
obviously pretty much redeemed at the end.
I mean, not fully. She could still.
Her becoming a Sith would be crazy. Who would she learn Sith stuff
Yeah,
from?
that's the problem. I was just saying. I think it'd be. She could run into Dathomir witches.
Ooh, okay, I'm down for that.
I think it'd be. She'd be a fantastic bad person. I think because
See,
Star
I'm thinking
Wars
like it would
has.
be awesome to see Reva helping the path with
Yeah,
Quinlan and Asajj, and like you get all these like redeemed and specialized
I was
Jedi, and
tired of that. Let's get a cool Sith.
oh, I'm down for a cool Sith, but don't forget the underlying
Yeah.
whole point of Star Wars is hope and the light and the good stuff.
Well, it would be fantastic to like to all those like doubters that hated her to begin with,
Yeah,
the actress and whatever this to come back as this like really well written villain. It's just be fantastic.
that would be good. I personally believe though her being a Jedi is better because it's her cycling back to the way she was. Because she started out as a Jedi, a terrible, terrible thing happened to her, and she never even really turned fully into like the teachings of the dark side. She only
No,
did what she
well
did to get close to
the
Vader.
Inquisitors aren't the dark side. That's
No,
the
I
thing.
know. I'm just saying, but she never
Yeah,
even like even for an Inquisitor, she didn't do what all the other Inquisitors were doing. She only cared about getting to Vader.
Inquisitors are just like an imperial version of the Grievous.
Yeah.
They don't really do much with the Force, and mostly just use their spinny sabers, which I'm sorry is still dumb. It's it's a dumb design.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can ever be sold on it.
Man, I would love to see Iscat. Hey, there we go. Iscat tries to run away from the Inquisitorium. I'm not going to say anything more, but maybe her and Reva can get together and become like not like Asajj style of redeemed Sith, but maybe a little darker. Like where
Yeah.
Asajj is like trying to help and is with the path maybe and stuff. We could have Reva and the other and Iscat just out there being mercenaries with lightsabers. We had that in the High Republic. We had Ty Yorick. She was a Jedi who just gave. She's like, I'm done with this. She walked away, kept her lightsaber, and became a mercenary.
Yeah. Well, you know, if you want to be, it's supposed to be. Even them not supposed to use lightsabers because the Empire wouldn't like make a big deal about it
Yeah.
with Inquisitors. But it would be smarter to be one without using your lightsaber.
Hmm.
That's why Sash was like her to use her lightsaber so quickly was pretty bold.
Another reason too, I'm
Um,
just happy to get the hell out of the Skywalker saga, so we can have
yeah,
people just openly throwing lightsabers around and open. We can have Mandalorians who aren't on a decimated planet yet, so they actually are still like a people. Just get out of the Skywalker saga. I'm done with it. Bye.
the
It's
Mandalorians are
awesome.
being mentioned during the High Republic. What?
Dude, that would be so freaking cool. They haven't been mentioned once and it blows my mind.
I feel like if they do though, They need to have armor
Mm-hmm.
similar to probably Jango Fett. I want to see like an earlier like
It's about 100. Ooh, this is a whole last video idea, but quick little spitballing then.
because
So a
Jango
hundred
Fett's
and
armor
something, yeah,
was a hand me down armor.
yeah, but 100 and something years. Do you think it would still look identical to Jango Fett's? Maybe a little alteration.
It'd have to be similar because you could I would say you could see the progression as they get into the post Civil War era as they
Yeah.
start progressing that new style of armor, which is kind of similar to what the it's a lighter version of the original Imperial. I don't remember what it's called, not the Imperial. I can't remember the references, but
Mm-hmm.
the post books that are not canon anymore. The Legends version of the Mandalorian armor was very heavy and layered, very bulky. So they kind of did something similar with it in the Mandalorian with the newer
Mm-hmm.
armor. But yeah, I would like to see like a version of a kind of a Jango Fett style, like because there had to be at a point where they switched to that armor style. So it had to be during the High Republic.
Yeah. Oh, the like the
You would
open
think,
press, like the more split
yeah,
plates.
and maybe that's like they probably did it to be a lot more lighter. Probably learning from fighting Jedi and maybe they're more spread out because of
Mm-hmm.
the war and they got um, I don't know.
All I know is yes, it would be so cool to see or hear just some morsel of Mandalorian High Republicness. You know, especially because
Yeah, imagine if
this is going to
Mandalorian
be
just casually
during. I mean, this
walks
would
by
be
on the screen.
yeah. This would be during the Mandalorian Civil War, wouldn't it? Or like right before it, maybe.
The 100 years. I don't think it's during this. I think it's after. It's got to be
Yeah,
after.
because they talk about. I mean, if it happened in let's see, Mandalorian Civil War would have been before Clone Wars, so. But the Mandalorians in the I think the Mandalorians in High Republic era would almost have a slight difference to them. Like maybe just like a not all can yeah. I still want them to have separate plates, but between 41 BBY and
Yeah,
39 BBY. So
this is
dang,
this
that was
is
pretty short.
this is before
Yeah.
because that's before the Battle of Yavin.
Pre-Clan Wars. Okay.
And this is 100 years before episode one, which is I don't remember. It's like 10, 12 years. I know it's more than that because Darth Vader.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that though. That'd be a fun topic to talk about. See when because if they're not at war and the Mandalorians are at peace, but they're also not pacifists yet, then that would be the best. That would lead to a very strong Mandalorian culture, a very strong Mandalorian
Yeah,
like
Phantom
mercenary
Menace
vibe.
is 32 BBY.
Yeah.
So so this happened right before Phantom Menace. So yeah.
So
So
actually, so then pretty much during the Acolyte, we have
they're old style Mandalorian. Because
oof.
that would be the biggest because the peaceful
Maybe
movement
hey, do you remember
was a new
do you remember
movement.
the Death Watch guys from the old
Um,
Jango Fett Open Seasons comics?
yeah.
You should yeah, that really weird visor they had with the little like horns on it. Maybe it's them. They'll bring them back. The old school Death Watch.
Mandalore should be like old Mandalore still because they had like a resurgence of
Hmm.
like the whole peaceful thing, and yeah, we should have full on traditionalists with the black with
Yeah.
the saber and everything.
Oh, that'd be cool
Uh,
to see too, because yeah, that means yeah, Mandalore wields the dark saber.
it's
He's
just which is funny because that's not technically traditional.
right.
It's like a new traditional as a way of thinking because they weren't always based around houses. That's later.
Yeah.
That would be this time where they're focused on houses.
So it'd almost kind of be like a renaissance for them too. They'd be all like worried about, so they'd be all like in house politics, and I guess that would make
Yeah,
sense too.
this would be like you would think of
Mhm.
more like medieval.
Oh my,
I would
it's
think
Game
the
of Thrones, but
yeah,
Mandalorian. Oh my gosh, now I want it even more. Oh
because
man,
when you get to the peaceful times, you're thinking of kind of we're getting to the Elizabethan times for the
right?
So this would be their height of the medieval time for them.
Yeah, which would
Because
be
this
so
if you
awesome
think
to see.
about was with their armor, so they're probably like all over the place.
And if
It's
you saw
digging out
Mandalorians
that
at this
metal.
time frame, you know they would bring up Old Republic stuff because that would be the stories they'd be telling. They'd be like the
Well,
tales they would have.
they still got to be a big deal because you think Jango Fett.
Right.
Like the fact that he's who he is has got to be. And I imagine because we had that civil war, the reason why Jango Fett wasn't a Mandalorian anymore is because he probably was part of the old school Mandos, and they lost, of course. We
Yeah.
find out, and so he probably got fed up with the with the Death Watch and the others. Is like, I'm out, and I'm just gonna be a bounty hunter now.
Mm.
Which, I mean, at his age, he would be too young, so it's probably what his father did.
It's definitely going to be very crazy to see how all of this is going to progress in a sense of like I just like they have to be a big force. And
Yeah.
the High Republic is such a awesome open-ended thing, which we don't have any Sith in yet. The Acolyte is going to be introducing that dark side of the High Republic to us. So, but also within the books, man, yeah, Defy the Storm was gnarly when it comes to like finding out some new stuff about the Nameless and whatnot. And it's just,
Yeah.
this is a big problem that is oddly, it's something that sucks about going too closely retroactive is why would no one brought this up, like, or just like mention it. But
What?
the Jedi are now gotten very good at
Oh,
hiding
man.
things and not talking about it. We've learned, just sweeping shit under the rug, and like, we're not going to talk about that for another 100 years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised though. They're probably thinking they're doing the good thing. It's like something bad. It's like a minutes of truth.
Mm-hmm.
Is not necessarily a lie type of
Yeah,
thing. Is what they're thinking, and sometimes the truth can be bad. But
it can cause
it's
chaos.
yeah, I can see why they haven't done the Mandalorians and the Higher Republic. It's just so
Yeah.
much with them that it's almost got to be its own like story. Like I said,
Hey,
it's
man.
probably we're building up to the
Jesus
Game of
Christ.
Thrones type
Right.
situation. There's probably already house and fighting.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh, of course there is. 100% there is.
because
And like,
there's
I would love to
houses
know
right
who the
now.
current Mandalore house is. Like, who
There
is
should,
it going to be? Fett's? Well, no, I don't think Fett's like an official one. I think it's because it's Chastra Mareel is the first one. But anyway, I mean,
yeah,
would it be Ordo
that's
from like
should be a bannerman
yeah?
essentially.
Would it be Vizsla? Would it be Ordo? Would it be Rin? Like so many of these different cool
But
houses and
it would be funny if they did it one of the High Republic novels of either like the Republic trying to take the Mandalore into them, and they're like, because Mandalore wouldn't do it at all. They
yeah.
would definitely because they'd even
That'd
join the
be yeah.
normal
Well, we're
Republic
we're
till a lot
reaching out
later.
to Mandalore to see if they want to join the Republic. They get a mission back.
What do you mean
Over our cold dead bodies.
what do you mean the ambassadorship got blown up?
Yeah. What? Well, yeah. There was like our ambassadorship went into exited hyperspace in Mandalore space, and sadly entered right into a giant fight between three entire armies of frigates. What? Yeah. Apparently they're at war, so we're just gonna leave them alone.
Yeah, I can imagine. Or the what are the bad guys called again?
Nihil.
The Nihil actually bumping into like a
Yeah.
small Mandalorian force.
The Nihil
It's
come
just
up.
like
Yeah, the Nihil show up on
just like
Mandalore, and
the Taruga or whatever, and they just get just demolished.
that'd be amazing. Though it'd be like, well, actually, there was this brief time in Mandalorian history where this weird little force called the Nihil Occlusion Zone. They tried to take us over, and well, we all banded together for the first time in 5,000 years, and we obliterated them.
Yeah. Well, they obliterated the Republic the first time almost. So
Yeah. Oh
there
man,
wasn't a real
that'd be
Republic
so
yet.
awesome.
They literally took over the galaxy over. But yeah, it's
That would
just
be
it'd
so
be
cool
funny.
to
It's
see
like
the Nihil just pop
like
in and
get
death.
to one of the novels and like the Republic's like all of a sudden the inclusion go just disappeared. The Nihil don't exist anymore. We don't know what
Yeah.
happened.
They just look over. There's just Mandalorians everywhere.
You see dead
We claim
dead
this for
bodies and
Mandalore.
like
Yeah, space is just filled with debris and dead bodies, and a bunch of ships just flying back to Mandalore.
yeah. If Mandalorians could band together, they could definitely fend off the Nihil for sure.
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
there's been some of the militaristic planets, especially when we got in the first phase, that have definitely fended off the Nihil.
Yeah, they're lucky
Without,
because the occlusion zone is at the more southern
yeah,
outer rim ring, but
the
yeah,
Nihil's lucky. You mean?
yeah, the Nihil's lucky. Yeah, well, 100%. Yeah, the Nihil are lucky that they didn't try to take the north outer rim, or they would have been sorely mistaken. That would...
Or yeah, they're definitely they can't go too far outer space because there's a couple forces out there that would
Mhm.
definitely kick. So if they go too far out of the galaxy, they'll definitely get themselves handed to them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
HUD
we
space
got
too. I don't know what HUD space would have tried to been like for them.
Huts are easy to deal with sometimes. If
Yeah.
you play their game, they'll let you do what you want to do. If you pay their money, that's all they care
Right.
about.
Make sure they're
But I'm
well
talking
paid and
about like
fed.
you go into when you deal with some of the two peoples that you deal with. Trying to think of the enemy that they're trying to fight. The outer rim, well, not the outer rim, the outside, the far reaches.
Oh, what, like the Yuzong Vong or the
No,
Chiss or?
the Chiss who are they're fighting.
Oh yeah, which we finally got to see one in a comic. I
Yeah,
don't know if you noticed.
they would destroy the Nihil. The
Yeah,
Chiss
the
themselves
Gwar or the Gwar or
could
some shit
fight
like
off the
that.
Nihil,
Garg.
but the fact that the Chiss,
Yeah,
I think they would just demolish the Nihil.
but yeah, in a recent Thrawn comic,
Yeah, I heard they
the
showed what they
Grisk.
look
Yeah,
like. The
and
Grisk.
guess
I
what? I'm
because
telling
the
you,
Grisk are
they're
like
bringing Rakatans in at some point because the Grisk have kind of a pointed head and their eyes bulge out of their body and it goes back down. They look kind of Rakatan.
you think they're like what the
Super, super,
Rakatans turned into.
yeah, like super, 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 super descendants,
Because
you know?
yeah,
Which would
yeah,
make
because the
sense.
Rakatans kind of they're gone.
Yeah. But these Grisk would have then taken over some other worlds, and those are just the ones who laid over after the Rakatans were wiped out. They pretty much got shoved back into savagery, a real medieval age. They built themselves back up, and now they're coming back out into the galaxy, which is bad for everybody. That could also be one of the main villains in for Rey. The Grisk could be a big issue for them. That wouldn't be a bad thing to do, because it's not as violent and evil and like grotesque as the Yuzong Vong, but it would still be a entire galactic thing if pretty much the ancient children of the Rakatan Infinite Empire are trying to retake space. That would definitely lead to a need for
Oh,
Jedi.
they don't have the ice stalks anymore.
Yeah,
They're almost the same thing, except they like their ice fell off.
right. Because they didn't need it as much anymore. They're
They got spiky.
yeah,
They have the same shape head. They're just spiky without the eye bulges.
right. That's why I was
I
like,
could
I don't know,
see how
man.
you.
That could definitely be a Rakatan, just super, 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 super late, and they call themselves the Grisk now. They're a different species, pretty much. Or it's pretty much, well, the Grisk is what the Chiss call them. So who knows what they call themselves?
Yeah. Or they could have renamed themselves.
Yeah, true. The
We're the Grist
Rakatans were the
now.
defeated, so we are now the Grisk. Ah. Man, it's gonna be fun. May the 4th
Don't
is
the
gonna be
Grisk
fun.
have like mind abilities too? Don't they do stuff with their heads?
I couldn't remember what it was, but it's like, yeah, they send in like one person to like saboteur your whole planet, and then
I
a lot of them
mean,
show up, and then they just destroy it entirely. They're
the
apparently like super
Rakatans,
crazy.
the Rakatans use like they had really powerful
Yeah, one
force
time
that
in the Force, they were very strong in the dark side, and then they lost it.
they could
Got it
be
back.
they could be using the force this whole time.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. And you have to use the Force to travel through that part of space if you're not mapping it, much like the Skywalkers of the Chiss do. So, but yeah, again, May the 4th, gonna be fun. We're gonna get a lot of new trailers, guys. I
Next
hope
episode
new
of Bad
trailers.
Batch has got to be pretty nuts too.
Oh, it's gonna be emotional as hell when Hunter confronts Crosshair, probably, and they all start yelling at each other or something. I don't know how it's gonna work out, but it's gonna be very powerful, and they're gonna immediately get to action, like 100%. So the
We
future is gonna
have
be very, very, very
how many
blaster
episodes are
filled.
another double episode? Do you know?
We don't
Gotta
have any more
find.
double episodes, I don't think.
Thought we did. I guess we don't. No, I guess that was it. You're right.
Yeah, that's why I was like, why is one of them about Emery? Not in
Yeah,
a bad way, actually. It just makes
we got 4 more to go. May
exactly.
1st
So
is a Friday.
it's gonna be crazy. The Juggernaut into the breach, flash strike, and the cavalry has arrived. Which the cavalry has arrived is when everyone dies. That's just how that's gonna work. But yeah,
Well,
it's gonna start getting crazy.
yeah. I mean, Into the Breach sounds like them trying to getting on the Tantus, and the cavalry's like supposed to be like Rex in the backup. You would think,
Yeah, who
but
knows? It's gonna. I mean, I don't see a lot of hope in
the
this,
way
but
this
they could
show's
throw it
going,
around.
it's going. It feels like it's getting darker and darker.
Yeah,
So
so they could all be captured and killed. Who knows? It could just be the worst thing ever and be very depressing. But it won't be. I still think Omega will somehow make it out, and they've just done
yeah,
enough. But or she
I think
won't. I mean,
she.
it's nuts.
I
We
think
don't
she'd be a
know.
good
Ah.
potential comic or something
Yeah.
about like later Omega, like or the Jedi Tales or whatever, Tales of the Jedi
Mm-hmm.
being one
One of those,
about
yeah, the Omega.
Omega.
That'd be cool. Well, guys, make sure to like and subscribe. And while you're down in this lower part of the YouTubeage, make sure to go ahead and comment. What do you want to see with the future of the Bad Batch to finish it up in these last 4 episodes? What kind of finale are you looking forward to? And do you think the Grisk are the Rakatans? Thank you all so much for joining us on this evening. Have an amazing rest of your day. And as always, may the Force serve you well.
May the Force be with you.